In the founding document of the United States, the Declaration of Independence, the founding fathers state that all men are created equal. What if I told you that we are more unequal than at any other point in the last century of this country? Between 1979 and 2016, the middle 60% of income earners gained 47% income adjusted for inflation. Over the same time period, the top 1% made 226% more money. I'm not advocating that everyone should make the same amount of money. That's ridiculous. I am merely pointing out the fact that between the end of World War II and 1970, income growth in the U.S. was relatively consistent between classes. The top earners still made much more than the bottom 50%, but their two wages grew at a consistent rate. Now, inequality consistently grows as the majority of Americans lose out on the prosperity of our economy to further benefit the elite. The rise of inequality has led to a slew of problems. Asset inflation, ridiculous housing prices out of reach for most Americans, and the slow, brutal death of the middle class. The American dream that was so tangible in the post-war boom, a house, a job, and a family, is now an impossible illusion for many. While many factors influence income inequality, I think the enforcement, or lack thereof, of antitrust legislation has played an outsized role.
A trust is a large business or monopoly that consolidates control over a market to restrict competition and manipulate prices. An antitrust is legislation intended to prevent the creation of such entities. The Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890 and subsequent legislation established the first antitrust laws in America in response to the consolidation of industries that caused large increases in income inequality during the Gilded Age. A new age of antitrust enforcement was ushered in by the Progressive Era and continued under FDR, as antitrust gained popularity and FDR appointed trust-busting lawyers in an attempt to deconcentrate American industries. This era, lasting until the 1970s, is known as the Great Compression, as wages of all classes grew in tandem and the middle class flourished, widely distributing opportunity. Finally, we have an era starting in the mid-1970s and extending to the present, starting with Reaganomics and widespread deregulation, including lax antitrust enforcement. Income inequality in the U.S. has begun to steadily increase. Companies have been allowed to merge unchecked and industries have consolidated. In 1954, the top 60 firms accounted for less than 20% of GDP. Now, just the top 20 firms account for more than 20%. Yes, merging allows new economic efficiencies to be unlocked, but that cost savings is not distributed among the workers. In reality, excess cash generated by monopolies and oligopolies does not trickle down. It's redistributed to the executives and shareholders, who are disproportionately wealthy people already. By enforcing stricter antitrust laws, we can rebuild a fairer economy where wealth is earned through innovation and effort, not inherited through market dominance. We have the tools, all we need is the will to use them. Together, we can ensure that the American dream remains within reach for everyone, not just a select few. Let's break the cycle of wealth begetting wealth and we'll work towards a future that reflects the equality promised in our founding ideals.